Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Pop Chat Friday. Hope you all have had an awesome week. We are digging into some trending topics today. So go ahead and introduce yourselves in the comments. We have a LinkedIn user here, someone who is a mystery. We don't really know, but say hello. Maybe that's Chantel. Maybe we'll see. I know this is something tricky with LinkedIn settings. Jennifer is here. Happy Friday. It is April 18th, 2025. We are jumping right in. If this is your first time joining Pop Chat, a little bit about me. My name is Brienne Fleming. I am a marketer, but also a fangirl who loves pop culture and boy bands and nostalgia, all the things. I am an academic. I teach branding and social media at the University of Florida. And I'm a content creator putting on this show. So thank you all so much for joining me live for Pop Chat. And I live in South Florida with my husband, Sandy, and our daughter, Thea. Oh, I also host a podcast called Making the Brand. So check it out if you have some time. But while you're here, tell us who you are, where you're joining from, and what you do. Say hello. This is definitely a place to make connections. Yay, Brandon's here. I have the day off, so I get to join for the first time in a while. Yeah, Brandon, remind me, is this the first time you've joined the live stream format? I don't think so. I think you've been here before now that we've pivoted to the live, but happy to see you. This is going to be a lot of fun. Unlike what the Backstreet Boys say, I do care who you are, where you're from, and what you do. So please go ahead and introduce yourselves. If this is your first time joining Pop Chat, what is it? It's kind of what it sounds like. It is a chat about pop, but it's our weekly series every Friday here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, where we talk about marketing, pop culture, and also experience community and connection with other marketers and people who are here to just connect and have a good time. Christine says LinkedIn and I need to get it together. Yes, Christine, come join the fun over on LinkedIn. So the way this works, first and foremost, be you. There is no gatekeeping here. There is no single authority when it comes to marketing. So no matter your experience level in the field, feel free to share it, reply to others, connect, and have fun. That's what it's all about. Rob from across the pond in the UK. It's a holiday here today. Oh, is the sun shining? Looks like it. Mira used to join on Twitter and just realized it happens here now too. Yes, it does. Happy you made the jump, and I hope you like the live format. So let me know what you think. So keep saying hello in the chat, but I want to kick off with our icebreaker question as well. You may not know, today happens to be National Exercise Day. So if you haven't gotten your endorphins in yet, there's no time like the present. So I have a question for you. What is your favorite form of exercise on this National Exercise Day? And if you got your workout in already, let me know. I have yet to do so. I still hear my music going in the background. Let's turn that down. There we go. So let me know, what is your favorite form of exercise? I have become a Peloton girly in recent months, especially since becoming a mom. I just try to hop on whenever I have a spare 20 minutes. But let me know what's working for you these days and how you're getting those endorphins and disconnecting. And even if it's just a good old walk in the park, that counts. Let me know in the chat. But again, so great to see all of you. While you're thinking about that, we're going to also dig into today in pop culture history. Ooh, Chris said swimming. I love that. I love that. As a Florida guy, it's on brand. Lathan likes swimming as well. You're at long walks with an audiobook or a yap. Yeah. Yes. Nice little phone call. Also on a walk. Kill two birds with one stone. Meet up with some friends or connect with some friends and get some calories burned. Hiking and jogging, golfing, if I can count that. Yes, because if you've ever tracked a golfing workout on an Apple Watch, you'd be surprised how many calories you burn. That definitely counts. Rob says, I'm doing a charity event in July, which is a run and muddy course full of climbing, crawling, and probably tears. Well, we're wishing you luck, Rob. And by July, you've got time. I have faith in you. Plenty of time to train. Yes, Jennifer is joining us. She's a freelance content writer and copywriter, not by choice, living in Tampa, applying to senior copywriter, copy manager, and senior content writer roles. Yes, so if you know of anything, everyone, please keep Jennifer in mind. Walking around the neighborhood, that's always a good idea. And do you do that with a dog, Jennifer? I need to know. I need to know if there are pets involved. So let's also dig into today in pop culture history with a pop culture rewind from 1997. I teased this on LinkedIn that we were going to talk about this. Mbop turned 28. And what you may not know about this song is that the Hanson brothers actually wrote it. And they were 16, 14, and 11 at the time. They are the main songwriters on Mbop. They did have some producers that they worked with, but they wrote the lyrics. And it seems like it's a really frivolous, silly song. And, Mbop it's not even a word. But you'd be surprised just how deep this song is. And it's actually about relationships and life and how a lot of relationships are fleeting and how to keep those relationships alive. And those are the ones that matter. And that's what life is all about. So, in the song, you need a refresher. If you haven't listened to it today, what are we doing? But even the song title itself is a metaphor for how quickly life goes by. And there's some lyrics that says, in an mbop, they're gone. It's like, poof, life goes by really fast. So this little tidbit, Mbop got its name from a completely spontaneous moment. The Hanson brothers were writing the song and needed some placeholder syllables for the melody. As they hummed through the song, Mbop came out naturally. It's a catchy rhythmic song that filled the space, but it ended up sticking as the title. It represents how quickly things pass in life. Mbop was a way to express that fast, fleeting nature of life in a memorable way. So while it started as a nonsense phrase, it actually became a metaphor for the transience of everything around us. And I don't know about you, but when I was 16, 14, and 11, I was not thinking this deeply about life. So there's your fun fact. Go ahead and stream it if you haven't. And I want to share a quick anecdote about Mbop, if I may. When I was in college, I worked at the on-campus rec center, and they were doing a fundraiser for, I want to say it was called, or I think it was the Children's Miracle Network. And while students were in this rec center working out, we would play Mbop on repeat. And I don't know whose idea it was, but someone created this campaign called Stop the Bop. And the only way you can stop from listening to it and us blasting it over the loudspeakers throughout the whole gym was to donate. So there's a marketing lesson in everything, isn't there? Jennifer says, no dog. I have a cat who would probably love to come with me and run around the neighborhood. Cats do love to do that. Rob gets it. Mbop is a great piece of pop music and it's barely aged. It's so true. It still slaps. So go listen to it today. Let's also start off with some famous birthdays. The queen of the 90s, Melissa Joan Hart, is turning 49. You may remember her from Clarissa Explains It All, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, just iconic. America Ferrera is 41, and Kourtney Kardashian is 46 today. But let's talk about Sabrina the Teenage Witch really quickly, because that show had some incredible cameos, including the Backstreet Boys, and NSYNC, but here they were on set during Nick Carter's 18th birthday. They also had Britney Spears. And the main inspiration why I included this slide, I thought you all would get a kick out of this, is that even Ryan Reynolds was on an episode. I think he was her prom date. I don't remember this episode, but we gotta love the frosted tips and the Nick Carter inspired haircut. But yes, that is Ryan Reynolds in the late 90s. Okay, so enough nostalgia. Let's get into some present day stuff with some trending topics. As you've probably heard, it was the championship heard around the world. Rory McIlroy won the Masters after, from what I understand, was an 11-year drought that he hadn't won a major. And it was his 17th time at the Masters. And you can see, just his reaction, just sweet, sweet victory. And he credited his support system. And what What you may not know, I know Usher was on it too. I didn't have enough room on my slide, but yes, really great cameos. I still watch Sabrina episodes. So great. Brianna, where is it streaming? Let me know. I might need to indulge as well. But Rory McIlroy, I mean, his story is just amazing. He was a golf prodigy. I read that he used to sleep with a golf club as a kid, holding it just so he could like practice his grip and get comfortable. And I read that he also used to, when he was 9 years old, practice hitting a golf club into his mother's washing machine. So truly just a dream come true, and we love to see it. I miss Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Not streaming anywhere. I don't even think I've heard of that show, Chris. So funny. Guys, my dad's in the chat. Say hello. We talked about the Gators last week, Dad. We did. Let's see. Rachel says a fraternity on campus would play Dominic the Donkey on repeat the whole week before holiday break, and to swap it for an hour, you had to donate to their philanthropy. See? Now that's just creative. I really like that idea. We need more creative marketing like this. It's okay, Dad. You're fine. You're tuned in. It's good. We'll catch up. So my question for you, I mean, clearly this was a long game for Rory McIlroy. Like I said, 17th time at the Masters, but I'm curious, in your career in marketing, what's a skill you've worked on in your career that's felt like a long game to master? What is something that's felt like a long game to master in this field? Let me know. I'm trying to think how I would answer this question. I think one is learning to scroll. I mean, I've never really been like an internet troll, but learning to scroll past comments or reviews or things that I don't like, or not to take metrics so seriously. For instance, I write a newsletter, and when you write a newsletter, you don't realize it, but every time you send one is also an opportunity for people to unsubscribe. You're sending that link directly to their inbox. So I used to get really worked up if anyone would unsubscribe from my newsletter, and I would look into and see who unsubscribed, and I would take it really personally. But now I've learned, at least on a personal note, not to let that affect me. Mira says, convincing clients and not everything needs to be directly promotional. Yes, that's awesome that you've mastered that. I think that's also something that your clients, probably take some time to fully get it. So the fact that that you get it and that you're facilitating that is really important. So applause for you there. Lathan says, I find the data and budget keeping parts of my job to be the dullest and therefore the hardest. Okay, Lathan. So have you gotten better at that? I find the data and budget keeping parts of my job to be the dullest and therefore the hardest. Yeah, Lathan, I know you are quite a creative at heart. So digging into the data can be challenging. So I'm curious, how you are working on that. Brandon, I actually got to go to the Monday practice round at the Masters this year. That is amazing. I've heard it's completely random. It's extremely hard to get a ticket. You can't even pay your way there. It's a complete lottery or something, to my understanding. But Brandon says getting over imposter syndrome, not being afraid of failure, is something I'm still working on. Yes, and if you haven't already, where is it? It's back here on my bookshelf. But Brandon has written a book about cereal, and it's awesome. I need to find it and showcase it. We'll showcase it next week. but yes, that is definitely getting over imposter syndrome and calling yourself an author and being an author and doing the thing and publishing. So that's amazing. Rob says, pleasing search algorithms, human readers, and now AIs. It's a tough game. Ooh, that's interesting. Pleasing search algorithms. Tell me more. Lathan says, Brandon, did you get the peach ice cream sandwich? Is that like an iconic thing at the Masters? I need to know more. Rachel says, I've always been a writer, but writing social copy used to take me ages. Now my models are in place and it's just a faucet I can turn on and off. all of you are like giving me great little nuggets that I want to learn more about. So, Rachel, if you're open to sharing your secrets or a little tidbit of what your models are like, you don't have to do it here, but even in a LinkedIn post, if you would like, that sounds really fascinating. Chris says, copywriting concisely. I'm a long talker and writer, and I hate reviewing and editing. Compose with a typewriter and click send, but review, edit, shorten, gets results. Yeah, Chris, I relate to that. Back when Twitter was only 180 characters or whatever it was, 240, and you just had to ruthlessly cut words and things that were superfluous and didn't matter. I also recommend the book How to Write Short, which, Chris, you're such a reader, you might have already read, but How to Write Short by Roy Peter Clark can really help with this, but it sounds like you've mastered it. Lethan says, I've gotten better by raising my hand to do it more, often against my better judgment. Yeah, putting yourself out there. Love to see it. And Rob is clarifying, yeah, for website copywriting. Okay, so you're taking a more human-centered approach. Interesting. Brandon says, I didn't get a chance to get the ice cream sandwich, weather cut our visit short, but did get the chicken salad sandwich and cookie. They were great. This is the thing at the Masters. I have a lot of, I'm not really a golf person, but clearly I'm being pulled in because this is intriguing. Also, Rory McIlroy lives in Jupiter, Florida, where I live, and I'm hoping that we do like a parade or something for him, but I haven't heard of anything. My running joke is that I never see him around town. Like, why haven't I run into him at Aldi? I don't think he shops at Aldi, but or if he shops at all, but I'm waiting to run into him at some point. Jennifer says, wouldn't say I've mastered SEO, but as a writer, I now keep it top of mind rather than following in love with my topic and perspective and trying to SEOify a completed article. That's good. Yeah. Going into your projects, just having it top of mind and letting that lead you and kind of tweak it from there is really smart. Falling in love. Got it. Got it. Speaking of falling in love, interesting segue. Ken Griffey Jr. has fallen in love with photography. Post his career in the MLB. I heard he played for, I'm a little foggy. He played for what? The Cincinnati Reds. And I want to say San Diego. Please refresh my memory. But he's a Hall of Famer and is known as one of the greatest outfielders of all time. And now he's a photographer. So we love to see it. We love to see people having a second act. And he took some really great photos. And he, from what I heard, he was very gracious at the Masters. A lot of fans and stuff were kind of flocking toward him and cheering him on. But regarding this opportunity, he said, realistically, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I'm still picking it up. If you're not willing to learn, then your pictures aren't going to get any better. So my question for you is, now that we're talking about marketing skills, things that we've mastered, how about what is a marketing skill you're still trying to learn and how are you practicing it? So before we shared kind of what you've mastered, what is something you've worked on quite a bit, but what is something new still on your radar that you're trying to practice? Thank you. I'm a little foggy today. OG Twitter was 140 characters. That was one way I got good at the copy part. No space to waste. Exactly. Got to trim it all down. Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't the whole PGA Tour live in Jupiter? Pretty much. I am a creeper. I have driven by Brooks Koepka's house. And a couple other of them live here. After we watched that Netflix show, Full Swing, I was like hooked. I was like, let's drive by their mansions and see. The Seattle Mariners. Okay, I knew it was somewhere out west. Right? I mean, if he doesn't want to meet me at Aldi, maybe he does want to come on Pop Chat. We'll see. We'll see. I think Justin Thomas also lives here. Yeah, it is the Mecca for golfers. So I really got to get into it. Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson, the pitcher, are big photographers. I like this angle. Instead of being a commentator or announcer, they can still be involved in sports and use their expertise. Yeah, Lathan, I love the way you frame that. And it's like they're still pretty much out of the spotlight. They're behind the camera this time, which is probably, I don't know. I would guess something that they would prefer and want to try is to maybe take a step back from the public eye a little bit, but also still be engaged. And, you know, yeah, I feel like becoming a commentator is kind of the default, to be a commentator or a coach of some kind. But yeah, I really liked this angle too. I saw more posts and coverage on Griffey covering the Masters than I did about the Masters. Follow more baseball than golf. Yeah, where is Christine, my baseball girl? Come back. But we love to see it. Getting everyone to buy into your ideas is an ongoing challenge that I enjoy. Yes. And I know you have great ideas, Rob. So it's just about how you package them and present them. Brandon says creating engaging content for our school district in a time where people aren't very positive about public education. Okay, so changing the narrative, Brandon, that's a big undertaking. Finding positive things our students and teachers are doing and sharing in as many ways as possible. Yeah, there's got to be some great storytelling potential. We love fun facts here. Yeah, so Randy Johnson is a photographer. I didn't know that either. Aw, thanks for joining, Rob. See you next time. So let me know, what are some other marketing skills you're still trying to learn? What's on your bucket list maybe? I'm trying to think what I would put up there. I mean, this is why I go live, because I despise video editing. I can see how I want a video to go in my head, but I wish I could just like mentally chop it all up and add my transitions and add my music and my sound. Like, doing all of that manually, I wish I could master that, or that it came, a little bit more easily to me. And I practice it occasionally with CapCut and all the tools out there, but I wish I was a more efficient video editor. So keep sharing your thoughts on this while we talk about Wendy's and Katy Perry. In case you missed it, Wendy's is at it again. They've roasted Katy Perry and her flight on the Blue Origin when they went to space earlier this week. And we know Wendy's does this. They are big on roasting, but in case you missed it, they replied to a tweet from Pop Crave that said Katy Perry has returned from space. And they said, can we send her back? And it got so out of hand. In fact, even Kesha, who I guess has some beef with Katy Perry, later posted a picture eating Wendy's. And, it was just kind of another jab. And it got so out of hand that Wendy's actually released a statement. It wasn't quite an apology, but they said, we always bring a little spice to our socials, but Wendy's has a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out of this world talent. So I'm still reading some of your answers from the last question, but go ahead and sound off on this. Does snark still work on social? Where's the line between funny and disrespectful? Mira says, finding ways to create interesting visual assets for accounts who won't provide or pay for good media. Honestly, would love to hear other solutions for this one. Ooh, yeah, that's kind of like making something out of nothing and having really limited resources. Interesting visual assets for accounts who won't provide or pay for good media. Yeah, and then everything ends up looking kind of like a stock photo. I was on a website for a salon the other day, and I was looking for like before and after pictures and testimonials and some of their work. And the entire website was stock photos. And it's like they don't want to provide or pay for, like you said, Mira, good media that actually shows their brand. So you're using visual assets that aren't representative of the brand. They're just, they're not informative for the potential customer. So it's a real drag. Website copywriting is the most challenging for me. Rob, you're great. You're getting better. I just know it. Lathan says no one should be surprised. Wendy's has always done this. It is meaningless, almost as meaningless as the Blue Origin flight itself. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. It just seemed odd to me that this went so viral because, yeah, Wendy's does this. But I'm trying to think if they've gone after someone so personally. And I think just all of the press around this really just amplified it, and it was kind of like the wrong place at the wrong time for Wendy's. Going back to the last question, Chris says, always trying to figure out ROI for things that aren't so objective. Ooh, I know our bosses want those reports on ROI and how we're getting a return on things that may not be so black and white. I try to lean on, I mean, I'm sure you know this, Chris, but I try to lean on sentiment and more qualitative stuff when that happens, but it's hard. Brandon says he thinks snark still works, but the world is so divisive from one extreme to the other today. You have to be careful. Seems no matter what you share, you make half the population mad. That is, I would agree. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think with Wendy's, though, they're just being outright mean. So, but yeah, some people can get it and, understand it as a joke. Someone got really up in arms about it and was just saying how, even Wendy's logo is a female and this is a huge blow to women and demanding an apology. And people got really heated about it. Lathan says, I do think the snark has run its course. You can still be edgy and irreverent if it works for the brand. But from a strategy perspective, it may be time for something new. I agree. I think Wendy's can still get away with it because I think they invented it. They invented it for brands doing this, but I'm kind of tired of it as well. Jennifer agrees, yes, and it is meaningless because their food still sucks. I mean, does anyone eat there? I couldn't tell you the last time I had Wendy's. In fact, there's one, on one of the main roads near me, and I drove by it this morning. I was thinking about this question, and it's not one of those updated ones. It's still like the old, nasty looking old logo, 90s Wendy's. And being in branding and marketing, I want the new logo. I want the refreshed Wendy's if I'm going to even think about stepping foot in there. So yeah. So Rachel says, if people didn't already have a negative view of the flight, I think the Wendy's thing could have gone by as usual. The problem is that the stunt was colossally out of touch and the comment made us focus on the wrong thing. Yeah. Yeah. And what I wonder, what do we think the hierarchy is with Wendy's? Do we think they're getting approvals for this? Do we think this was off the cuff? Do you think they have free reign? Does anyone have any intel? I'm just curious what went on behind the scenes. Yay, Joseph's here. Late. It's okay. Snark still works, but the line between funny and disrespectful ultimately comes down to the taste, maturity, and wisdom of the marketer, which is exactly what tools like ChatGPT cannot replicate, at least not yet. I love that. Here's a point for us humans. Joseph, to catch you up, we are talking about Wendy's taking a little jab at Katy Perry. But yeah, Chris says, as long as snark is in your social persona, then yes. So it's classic Wendy's. Then there's that. Half the people thinking the space flight is some sort of feminist triumph, and the rest was going, it's a bunch of celebrities who can afford to fly into space. Who cares? Yeah, I have seen a lot of chatter about that and a lot of different statements and things floating around. So yeah, maybe people really did want to send her back, send Katy Perry back. Katy Perry, I don't know what's happening. I was discussing this with my friends, but she's kind of going through this wave of hate. I think we kind of saw this with J-Lo last year. Like, she was having a really bad press cycle. And I see it happening with Katy Perry as well. All right, but on a lighter note, let's talk about Time's 100 most influential people. A lot of different people made the list. Why won't this adjust? There we go. Demi Moore, Serena Williams. Whoops. This is lagging for me. Ed Sheeran, Snoop Dogg, and whoa. Yeah. So lots of great people on this list. As you know, they come out with this list every year and they get a couple of the honorees to grace the covers of Time. And if you haven't checked out the landing page for this yet, or the website, I like how each person who gets added the little description about why they're included and why they're so influential is written by another celebrity or notable person. Like I was reading the one about Snoop Dogg and it was written by Hoda Kotb. And, it's just like a nice little touch to have other people talk about why these people are influential. So let's talk about influence. Who or what have been your biggest influences in your career and why? This can be people. This could be brands. This could be books. This could be famous leaders. This can be people you know personally. This could be mentors that you have had. So who or what have been your biggest influences in your career and why? I want to give a shout out to an author and speaker named Sally Hogshead. Brandon probably knows who she is because I talk about her a lot in my course. But she really helped me see marketing and advertising differently, because she always says it's good to be better, but it's better to be different. And that is something that I think about constantly when making content is, okay, we don't have to be the best brand. We don't have to have the biggest budget, but if we do something that's different, that is powerful enough in a lot of cases. So that just rings in my head a lot. I love Sally Hogshead. Oh, yes. Jalen Hurts was on the list. As an Eagles fan, it's been fascinating hearing the response. Ooh, tell me more, Brandon. I assume it's been good if you're a fan as well. But yeah, I did see he was on the list. So that's awesome. Ooh, I also meant to bring this up. I didn't know if I should write a question about this. I couldn't quite nail it, but Blake Lively is on the list as well. Being influential for better or for worse, whatever you think is going on with her, but she was on the list. One of my biggest influences, Lathan says, is a professor from college, Anne Hamby. She was very encouraging, taught me everything I know about consumer psychology. Okay, Lathan, did she write her own textbook, or did she have a textbook that she used that we all could learn from? Because consumer psychology, I find so fascinating. I think that's we don't talk about it enough when it comes to marketing. It's yeah, let's talk about different platform innovations and new tools and AI and all this stuff. But no, let's talk about what's going on up here in the minds of your consumers. Yay, Mira says, I love this question. NHL and all social media teams have been super influential. I just love seeing their off-the-cuff reactivity and how quick they are with their work. Also, the way they manage the horrible community engagement they get thrown at them when the teams are doing poorly. Give them awards. Boom. Mira, I love that answer. I'm going to go ahead and give you some little sparkle. Where is it? Oh, my music is still on. Here we go. Let's do some sparkle. And now I'm curious, is the NHL corner of social media particularly cutthroat? You mentioned here the community engagement they get when the teams lose. Do we think that's heightened in hockey? I'm so curious, but yes, actually one of my students this semester is a social media coordinator for the Panthers. Go Panthers. So yeah, I'm going to have to dig into those comments. Thankfully, the Panthers have had positive comments this year after we just won the Stanley Cup. Wanting to know more about the response. Yes. Keep us posted about Jalen Hurts. Some of the Philly media were negative about it, which is super weird. If you win a championship in Philly, you should be untouchable, coming from an Eagles fan as well. Ooh. Yay. Sally, Chris. She's from Jacksonville. I didn't know that. I know I think she lives in Orlando now, or maybe she lived in Jacksonville. She just grew up in an amazing family. I think one of her siblings is an Olympian. The other one is, I think, someone really major at Harvard or had something to do with Harvard. There's just three brilliant minds in that family. Brandon says, I refer to a lot of Sally's work. Oh, Brianna's been a huge influence in my career. Thank you, Brandon. I wouldn't be where I am today without her influence. Don't make me cry. Also, Jesse Cole from the Savannah Bananas, the customer first experience and taking creative risks he does is inspiring. Yeah, I've been meaning to read his book. If you've read his book, let me know. But yes, we're talking a lot about baseball and golf and football and sports today. I love it. And hockey. Jennifer says, I learned so much about SEO and blog writing from the first SEO team I worked with 3 jobs and companies ago. they made this guide for the content writers, and I still use it to this day as much of it holds up. That's awesome. We love a resource that holds true and that you can keep using. I still think about, old journalism classes and PR classes of what, like, the inverted pyramid and how to write a story and how to have the most important details up front. Like, it's funny what sticks with us and what templates and assignments and things we still carry with us in our careers. So that's awesome, Jennifer. If you're open to it, please share it. Sounds really helpful. So keep sharing your influences. Again, if you want to add a second one or third one, feel free if there's any books or authors as well. But I'm always looking for additional influences, so please share. Okay, this is a fun one. Have you guys heard about Jimmy Fallon's new show? It's called On Brand. And in each episode, the On Brand agency, people who are competing, creatives will work with major companies such as Dunkin', Captain Morgan, Pillsbury, and Samsung, who are searching for the best idea for a massive brand campaign. The contestants will write jingles, build activations, and produce commercials while gaining unprecedented access to the businesses. At the end of the season, one contestant will be named the best in the business and will receive a cash prize. Let me know who's signing up. Who wants to be a part of this? In this article, I learned that Jimmy Fallon actually loves advertising and marketing and branding, so maybe he should join Pop Chat. But what do we think about this? Let me know if you'll consider signing up and competing. But I think what is really interesting about a show like this is that it's going to put advertising and branding kind of in the mainstream media more, and showing what goes into developing an idea. Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. So my question for you is, what is something about marketing or branding you wish more people understood? And maybe we'll get a glimpse of that through the show. It reminds me, a few years ago on NBC, they had a show called Songland. It was one of my favorite shows. I'm sad it's not on the air, but they worked with songwriters like Ryan Tedder and Esther Dean and some major songwriters. And it was a competition show where you would go in and you would pitch a song idea to them, and they would work with you to, rework the song and get it to a better place. And it really showed you what it was like under the hood of songwriting. And I think that will happen here for marketing and be really fascinating for people who don't work in the industry. Going back to influences, Chris says author Donald Miller, building a story brand, and Dr. JJ Peterson from his org, huge influence on my marketing approach. I'm not familiar with JJ Peterson. Also Joe Palizzi, content marketing guru. Don't build your house on rented land. And yes, Sally was majorly influential. Did an event with her, and the Fascinate theory has been a major part of my work and life. Chris, I love how you're such a sponge, really. And just, you're always leveling up and making yourself better and looking for other influences and engaging in conversations like these. So thank you for being here and sharing that. I read about this and they had my attention until they said Jimmy Fallon. We move on from Jimmy Fallon. Why not an actual brand and marketing professional host? Yeah, I think there might have been even some like entrepreneurs. They could be celebrity entrepreneurs. But yeah, that does kind of seem like an odd fit. I think maybe they're assuming that for a show that's so professional or has such like a industry angle that they maybe need to bring humor to it. I don't know. But yeah, you bring up a good point. Joseph says, for me, one of my influences is a University of Michigan linguistics professor, Ann Curzon, who has written a number of plain-spoken and compelling books on an esoteric subject that is one of my passions: language uses, grammar, and style. Her engaging personality and writing style showed me that I could write about this subject. Her latest book is Says Who, a kinder, funner usage guide for everyone who cares about words. Highly recommend. Wow. Okay. I love that. I'm not as big of a word nerd as you are, respectfully, Joseph. I love that this is a passion of yours, and I think about you all the time when linguistics questions and debates and things come up. So I love that you're immersing yourself in all of this. This is really awesome. Jennifer is signing up. Siobhan is here. Yay! She says, I'll be interested to see what kinds of contestants are on the show and who performs best. Professionals versus content creators, for example. Yeah. On that note, I'm curious if we'll see, with content creators, if we'll see some people who have maybe a traditional marketing background or have degrees in marketing versus just very creative people who may not have gone that traditional route. Yeah. Wish more people understood that it is about building relationships. Yeah, at its core, that's really what it is. I would have to agree that we sometimes get lost in things and forget that at the end of the day, it's about nurturing and building those relationships. You're absolutely right. Jennifer says that people who know nothing about marketing have the final say on what ads, posts, campaigns, and stuff actually get produced. Oof. That is a sad reality sometimes. I've seen that happen. So we'll have to see how this puts marketing and branding and advertising into pop culture and into the cultural zeitgeist, if you will. And maybe it'll inspire some people to pursue it as a career. We shall see. Keep sharing your thoughts on that if you have them. But I also want to share some hot off the press news for my Star Wars fans. Ryan Gosling is getting involved. It is true. He is joining the upcoming Star Wars Starfighter movie, Memorial Day 2027. I thought it was 2026. Yikes, 2027. But Ryan Gosling is worth the wait. So, any of my Star Wars fans, let me know what you think. I don't have a question about this, but I saw it and I was like, people are going to have thoughts. So, okay. It is also Feel Good Friday. So share some good news. Tell me something. Tell me something you want to share. Tell me something great that's happened to you personally or professionally. You can recommend a product. You can shout someone out, big or small. If you have something that you want to celebrate, this is a little safe space to do that. In the spirit of Feel Good Friday, I want to mention some exciting personal news that I have, and it's kind of exciting for you too, because I have a discount code for CreatorCon. I am going to be speaking at their event, Social Media Show and Tell, May 13th, next month, live in Cincinnati. So if you are in the Cincinnati area, maybe we could meet up and you can attend. But this also is going to be a virtual event. So with the code POPCHAT25, you can get 25% off your ticket and come hear from me and some other speakers about the creator economy and all kinds of fun things. I am sharing the link, but it only lets me share it here to YouTube for some reason. But if you're interested, send me a DM or just Google CreatorCon Cincinnati, and you can find it and use code POPCHAT25. In fact, thanks, Benjamin. For those of you who are actively working right now, if you want to ask your bosses or your companies to let you expense this, even better. But the virtual ticket is great. And it's not it's a pretty reasonable price, especially with 25% off. So hope to see you there, either in person or virtually. I'm actually the closing talk, so I'm really excited about this. And wish me luck. Benjamin says, probably just that personal branding is important too. Even as you work to build a company's brand, you should invest time in your own. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way, Benjamin, that, we spend so much time building other people's brands, and that might not be something that's forever for you. And circumstances change and you may need to pivot. And it's important to have kind of your own brand or just your own reputation to really stand on and your own connections. Joseph says, being a PR guy, one thing I wish more business people understood is the difference between PR and marketing. PR is not about selling. It can support that objective indirectly, but it's a different discipline with a different approach. Every company in communication does not have to try to directly sell people stuff. Joseph, you are going to get some sparkles for that. Thank you for bringing that up because I agree, and people don't talk about this enough. All right, so keep sharing some good news, some thoughts for Feel Good Friday. But it is time for our giveaway. So we're doing a pop quiz for your chance to win some SkinnyDipped. And this is about all I have left of the delicious chocolates and treats that they gave me. This is empty. This is my last one. I do still have some dark chocolate cocoa almonds. So we're going to dig into those. But for your chance to win some SkinnyDipped, I'm going to get to a trivia question in a second. But in the meantime, I loved this graphic they shared on social. Which SkinnyDipped snack are you based on your sign? Let me know in the comments. What is your sign? Based on this, I am a salty and sweet vanilla crunch almond. But right now, today I'm a Taurus because I'm eating these dark chocolate peanut butter cups. We're all a Taurus today. Okay. So let me know how you identify on this chart. And if you're a fellow Sagittarian, also let me know that too. But these do not disappoint, the dark chocolate peanut butter cups. I love when brands do graphics like this. It's just built-in engagement. People just have to engage and tell people what their sign is and be a part of the action with stuff like this. Chris says, shouting out the post office. Had a nightmare of a time getting some surprise customized swag for some clients. Vendor sucked, but post office came through when I needed it. Saved the day and were so nice. We love that. They don't get their flowers enough. I always see people in there with, having a bad day. So I'm glad things turned around. All right. Benjamin, you are a dark chocolate salted caramel bite. So, a Pisces. Awesome. Jennifer, you're dark chocolate peanut butter. Highly recommend. All right. So get your fingers ready for the trivia question. I hope someone knows this. I hope this is more common knowledge. Okay. My question for you is, ready? What was the name of Sabrina the Teenage Witch's cat? If you missed it, today is Melissa Joan Hart's birthday. And we talked about Sabrina the Teenage Witch a little bit earlier. So what was the name of her cat? The first person who gets it right will win some SkinnyDipped. And I promise it will be full bags, not half-eaten or fully eaten bags. Does anyone know? I also think there's a bit of a lag on my StreamYard today. Okay, we've got a few people, but the first one I see is Lathan Salem. Benjamin, honorary. What's the word I'm looking for? Great runner-up. My king. Does anyone know his last name? I'm going to give it to Lathan. But also when I Googled it, his last name came up. Lathan says there have been a series like this in the past. The pitch was short-lived, but it was a docu-series following 2 to 3 agencies a week pitching the same business. Found it very interesting and more realistic than whatever Jimmy Fallon will do. Ooh, yes. As a Libra, Chris, go ahead and try them. I think we should use that zodiac as a sign for what you should all try first. Aw, what a gem you are. Salem cat. His name is Salem Saberhagen. I don't know why. So, Lathan, congratulations. Please DM me and we'll find the best place to best address to send this to. Salem had a last name. Yeah. First runner up. Thank you. I don't know why. My brain wasn't working. So yeah, we'll send you some chocolate. Salem cat. Last name witch trial. I don't know. When I Googled it, that's what it said because I wanted to make sure I could verify it. All right, let's wrap up with some industry news. We're tired. I'm about to tell you about another company that is trying to start a social media network. Since we've done Pop Chat Live, we have had Peloton say they're going to develop a social network. We have had BuzzFeed say they're exploring it. And now, I thought Salem had one name like Madonna or Cher. Really, he should. OpenAI is apparently building a social network. And yeah, the internet is just getting more and more fractured. So I just don't know how this would work, but from what this article says, it's a social app. The social app would also give OpenAI its own unique real-time data that X and Meta already have to help train their AI models. Musk's Grok surfaces content from X and its results, while Meta trains Llama on its vast trove of user data. I didn't know their AI stuff was called Llama. Hate it. I know we're tired. How many? I'm still fighting, whether or not I should be on Threads. I do not have the energy, you guys. I don't. I can't. I won't. It looks like fun, but I'm done. This is what you get. 60 minutes live. Is this the next evolution from every company having their own app? They now need their own social network. Jennifer, it's like how we have a million different streaming companies now, and we should just go back to cable. Like we should all just go back to where we came from. Isn't that just Twitter now considering every Twitter now considering every reply on every post is asking Grok to explain it to people or asking Grok if something is real? I've never used Grok at all. But I do use ChatGPT. You all have some awesome thoughts about this. I'm going to keep reading them, but my question for you, last question of the day, is what's a feature element of social media that makes you feel real human connection? Because I think it's weird to have AI involved in a social network when it's about people and connection. So is this going to get weird? And how can we preserve this human-centric feeling on social that we get? What's a feature or element of social media that makes you feel real human connection? Does anything created on OpenAI social feel authentic? That's my question. Are we just going to be connecting with robots? I don't know. Benjamin says Threads is too Instagram-y. Interesting. Every time I open Threads, it feels like 2021 Twitter, where everyone is just sharing like their secrets to six-figure salaries. And I've seen all that run its course on Twitter. I don't feel like going through all that again. 0 out of 10, do not want it, did not ask for it. Bring back interacting with people as the meaning of social in social media. Mira, you're going to get more sparkles. Sparkles for everyone. You all have really been on fire today. It's going to keep playing. I also hate when I try to search an account on IG and now it makes AI try to talk to me. Yes, I've had that happen. Leave me alone. OpenAI building their own social network. Yes, please. Steal my identity, creativity, and soul to replace me with a simulation. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? I love the notes on IG stories, actually. It's fun to see what little thoughts others have seeing a story, especially when it's the exact same thought I had. Ooh, I love that. That's such like a niche answer. I love that your mind went there. Very specific, which reminds me, I've always said that one of my favorite pieces of engagement is when someone likes your story and they just send you a heart. I love that because those aren't public. Those aren't them publicly liking something. That's just like, I liked this and I just want to tell you, this is for your eyes only. I liked this thing that you put on the internet. I think it's kind of sweet. I think the simple comments and discussion are what helps me feel the most human connection. Yes, the two-way conversation. Yeah. I say comments, except on Twitter now, are the most connection because social media has allowed the two-way conversation, whether it's between brands and their consumers or just simply allowing us to communicate with people around the world. Yeah. Interesting, Benjamin, because I feel like this was what Twitter was known for, was that two-way conversation and access to anyone and brands, but everything is so fractured now. It doesn't get more human than that. We love it. We love it. All right. Keep sharing your thoughts on this, but I will say this is where I feel real human connection, even though many of us have not met in person. I don't think I've met anyone in person here today. Wait, Lathan, we've met. We met in New York. Yeah. I have it on my bucket list. I need to do like a pop chat tour and meet the rest of you. Joseph says a current original photo or video is still the most powerful form of content for social media, I think. Relates to what you were mentioning earlier about the weakness of using stock art to try to express a brand. Yeah, the things I feel like you're right. We've taken that for granted. It shouldn't be this refreshing to see like a original photo or video, but somehow we've gotten here and it is. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. If you want to end and share a helping hand, something you need help with right now. Yeah, we did meet at Social Media Week. I remember. That was so fun. Love it. Share something you need help with. Put it out into the universe. We'll see if we can make any magic happen. But as always, thank you so much for joining. I will see you next week. And everyone have a great weekend. And if you celebrate, have a happy Easter. Be safe, be healthy. And as always, thanks for your thoughts. Thanks for your engagement. Thanks for your support and friendship. And and special thanks to SkinnyDipped. So congrats again, Lathan. DM me your address and we'll get you some chocolate. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time. I'll give it a second to see if any other answers pop up. But aside from that, hope everyone has a great weekend. I don't really have super exciting plans. Oh, I'm gonna work on my talk that I'm giving at CreatorCon. So again, if you are interested in meeting up in Cincinnati, or if you're interested in checking out a virtual ticket, let me know. I'll send you the link or just do a search and use code POPCHAT25. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Bye.